This time for sure. Felix waited in contemplation. His hands relaxed to the side as the announcer called his opponent to the field. The past 2 months of training, his participation in this tournament, and his acquisition of the demon. It all started with him. Ready to die yet? The young man opened his eyes to greet his hated foe, actively keeping his breathing steady as the older fighter stared him down with a smug grin. Told you, didn't I? This industry is always someone looking for a good heel. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy smashing mine into your skull. Or maybe your liver. Oh, maybe I'll take a different note out of your book. Shatter your fucking legs. The gray-streaked fighter leaned into Felix's face as he growled that last word, utter contempt burning in his eyes, a contempt that was returned in the demons. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this, fucking brat. His last gleeful taunt out, Ricardo stepped back into his side, while the announcer sheepishly stepped between them. Well then, at my side, The announcer looked to his side as Felix took his microphone from him, a moment of silence falling upon the stadium before he spoke. There's a lot I want to say to you. More like scream at you, honestly. But I don't think there'd be much point. So, I'll save my breath. A confused sneer formed on Trebasia's face, the boy either wasting the man's time or stalling the end of his. His piece said, Felix tossed the mic back to the announcer, man snatching it in the air casually before... Bloop. Huh? There, before Trebasia's eyes, the announcer fell into the ground, his gaze following him down into the inky black pool. Ricardo's head immediately snapped back to the demon, already stepping into the space, hands at his side as he took a deep, silent breath, and without a word, without a sound, threw them into the older fighter's chest, a deep black flame bursting forth to envelop him. With a shriek of agony, Ricky was blasted away, his body writhing on the ground, parts of his flesh turning red as he clutched his chest. You fucking... Trebasia took a sharp, painful breath, hurriedly tracing his hand over his torso, a faint glow emanating as he worked to soothe the pain. As his foe recovered, Felix slowly lifted his arms up, the announcer gasping for air as he shot out of the pool of darkness. What are you doing, kid? Goldbug shouted from the benches. You can be disqualified for stunts like that. The young Archetype paid no heed to his master, immediately returning his attention to the hoary warrior still on the ground. With a running start, Felix leapt at Ricardo, hands cupped above his head, a bright orange blaze forming between them as he fell towards his opponent. Seeing this, Trebasia moved to dodge, crouched form leaning back before kicking his leg out, narrowly avoiding another devastating flare as the boy brought his hands down, a pillar of fire erupting where they had landed. An unwavering hatred in his heart, the demon dashed through the wall of fire, guards squared as he took another deep breath through his nostrils. Once he was close enough, the young man threw out a corkscrew punch, a spiraling bullet of fire shooting out as his foe stepped out, using a half guard to keep the boy's attack arms away. Trebasia set up for a retaliating jab, planning to blow the demon's head off in a single strike. As he was heading up, however, he felt the hellish heat crash upon his foot, a burst up fire crawling up his leg from Felix stomping on him. Another blood-curdling scream of pain as Ricardo's leg shot up, throwing his younger foe to the floor as he fell to it. A roll putting him on his feet while keeping him away from the aggressive teenager. Die! His body crouching a bit before bending, Trebasia shot towards his enemy. A super low flying knee gliding over the ground towards the still recovering Felix. The boy's torso just lifted as the older fighter attacked. His indignant, contemptuous glare was unchanged. Just as fast as he was attacked, the demon sunk into the ground, muscular knee passing over his face as he became darkness. Feeling no impact, Ricky shot his attacking leg out and skidded to a halt, panickingly looking all around him for the boy. Shit! Where are you? Come out here, you goddamn stray birds! The older fighter continued scouring the field for his enemy, head snapping about in desperation to hunt him down. Non-futile endeavor as he spotted something moving through the grass of the field, a murky black ink crawling over the soil and rapidly making its way toward Trabagia. Not taking any chances, the muscle used his power to jump away from the dark pool, its speedy darkness continuing to pursue him till he made a particularly great leap, gaining yards in distance, leaving Felix no choice but to come out for air, gasping as he did. Damn it! Thought the grass would hide me. Can't catch up like this. With the younger man re-emerging from the shadow, both fighters took a moment to catch their breath. Ricky's particularly pained and shuddering as he continued to trace his hand over his chest. However, what's going on? The pain's still there. Feel my blood flow with my motions, but I don't heal properly. Confused, anxious, and angry, Trabagia beat his chest in frustration, turning his attention back to the boy as he took another breath in preparation for his continued assault. Squaring up, Felix began to throw out jabs at a steady rhythm, a blast of flames jetting from his fist every moment or so as he began walking towards his opponent. Ricky attempted to run to the sides of the fires, but found himself collapsing, his foot still burnt and injured. With an annoyed growl, Ricardo began to hop on his good leg, power letting him move about enough to dodge the onslaught of fire. Damn it, he's pressuring me. He's just gonna drive me into a corner, close the distance until I'm a fucking mash pile. As Trabagia racked his head for a plan, he found himself constantly beset by black and orange flames, his opponent never in view for long before being veiled by fire. Shit! Need to ambush him, but there's no cover. If I try to jump into the air, I'll be a sitting duck, the older fighter lamented. As he continued his walk, Felix worked to form a stronger plan of his own, his opponent too far and too quick for his current strategy to be anything more than a distraction. His gait was slow enough to allow for a quick escape into darkness if need be, but otherwise he'd be ineffective in catching up to his opponent with a football field's worth of space to run. Even now, as a procession of ebony flames flew forth, his opponent became a blur, rocketing to the sides as the boy's eyes and attacks trailed him best they could. However, they saw no movement escaping a second time. Before he could fully comprehend what he was seeing, Felix found his body lurching sideways, a knee grinding into his side while the older opponent grinned maliciously, body wreathed in black flames. Faint? The young man thought as his body flew to the side, his opponent leaping out to pursue him. Confusion flashed over Ricky's face a moment before he grabbed Velatoris' ankle, a notable strain on his body as he pulled the boy into it, wrapping his arms around Felix's neck in a chokehold. I've got you now, you little shit! Trabagia cried out gleefully, turning his torso about to utilize his archetype, his arms becoming bigger and harder as they held the boy above ground. Only slightly, though. Fuck's happening to me? I was trying to force the kid's head off his neck, but I didn't move fast enough. Now here I can't bend my blood properly to pop it. While Ricky pondered his impotence, the boy struggled to free himself from his grasp, clawing, pulling, and kicking out as the older fighter held him aloft, managing meager success before his opponent beat on his head and tightened his grip viciously. I'm sick of dealing with you, fucking brat. My life's been nothing but bullshit since you stepped in. I was a goddamn laughingstock, the archetype who lost to a kid with no power. These fuckers at Cafe act so smug. Like they were doing me a favor, putting me as a sideshow, sticking me with a fucking punk kid as a coach. Felix could feel himself fading as Trabagia screamed at him, frustration building in the boy's gut as he squirmed and struggled to break free. gonna be worth it, if nothing else. You dying'll more than make all the bullshit worth it. So hurry up and die! Felix! Both fighters' heads turned to the stands, finding Goldbug at the source, arm held high with a card in hands. Focus. Focus. The card? The young Archetype, with no better options, trusted in his coach, gathering what little air he could before letting his mind drift to the card, the symbol of fire burning up at the center. Don't let the flame reach the edges. He could see it. The same image he'd familiarized himself with these last 2 months. The encroaching singes halting in place, a burnt hole. That, by his will, would grow no bigger. Perfectly held in place. A horrific shriek of agony pierced the air as Felix was suddenly dropped to the ground, the boy gasping for breath while his opponent held his arms before his face, their flesh too painful to touch. Not wanting to waste his chance, the demon took a hurried breath as he rose and turned to his enemy. The older fighter still recovering as the younger delivered a side kick to his abdomen, a blast of fire sending him reeling onto his back. The young man collapsed to his knee a moment, still needing more recovery time while his foe writhed on the ground in pain. He wondered aloud what had happened as he examined Trabagia, quickly finding parts of the man's arms coated in fresh second-degree burns. Yeah, always got harder when I did focus training. Once more, Ricardo desperately traced his hands over himself, faint glow returning to the same results. Nothing. Fuck. Heal! Come on, fucking heal! The older fighter cried out in desperation as his hated opponent rose to his feet. The strategy now strong in his mind as the past 2 months flashed in his mind. Sorry your choice to fight 2 kids isn't panned out for you, psycho. Didn't exactly want to be here either. Trabagia glared Felix down with eyes of red, an unspeakable contempt aiding towards the boy as his own gaze returned the feeling. I'll kill you. I swear to God on my life, I will fucking kill you! The demon simply stared down at his enemy, putting his guard up as the older fighter rose to his feet. Kill you! Kill you! Kill you! With a declaration of death, Ricky power leapt at Felix, adrenaline and anger overcoming whatever pain wrung in his body. Trabagia went into a maddening dance of blows, exchanging attacks with the demon as they parried and dodged each other. Flames rose past Ricardo as he spun into a roundhouse kick, his younger opponent bobbing to avoid it, only for the leg to snap back into the boy's guard. This turned out to be a mistake, as Felix's body once again became scalding hot, eliciting a painful roar from the furious fighter while he ripped his leg away and hammered it into the enemy's side. The onslaught too much, Felix found himself forced to the ground, glancing up as he hit the floor to see his opponent raise his leg high. Instinctually knowing what to expect, the demon sunk into the darkness, taking his enemy's foot with him as he crashed into the inky black pool. Shit! Shit! Get this crap off of me, you fucking brat! Ricky demanded, desperately trying to free himself from the shadow. Come back! Come back and fucking fight! No sooner did he ask, did he receive. Felix emerging from the side of Trabagia before assaulting his head with a flurry of vicious crosses, knocking his head around as he cried out in contempt, his arms snapping to grab the boy's face and pull him into his own barrage of headbutts before knocking the younger warrior back to the ground. While Felix recovered, clutching his now bleeding head, Ricardo continued to struggle, punching and flailing into the air in an attempt to force his body out of the darkness. To no avail. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Trabagia wailed, grasping his head as his breathing became erratic and panicked. I can't lose. Not to this fucking kid. Not again. Never, 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 never again! Trabagia's roar echoed throughout the stadium, an eerie glow enveloping his eyes. All eyes were on Ricardo as his veins started popping out, becoming large and thick as his muscles did much the same. His body becoming increasingly bigger, skin tearing apart where the muscle was the tightest, blood oozing out while his body inflamed, becoming a reddish pink, all while he screamed madly, tearing at the ground. Slowly, he tore himself from the darkness. "Felix, you need to run out of there!" Goldbug shouted from the benches, his pupil's eyes not leaving Trabaggio for a moment as his friends looked to the master in confusion. "What's wrong?" Jessica inquired. "Is him becoming bigger that dangerous?" "It's not just that he's bigger. That glow. Kid, you need to leave!" The demon did not move, piercing eyes focus on his foe as the man pulled himself up. When at last he rose to his feet, Ricky was shown to be massive, body nearly 3 times as large than before, veiny and exposed, bloody muscle tissue scattered across, hateful eyes still glowing as he snarled at Felix, the younger warrior unflinching before his hated enemy. "Damn it, kid. Hang on!" As Goldbug moved to take his student back to the sidelines, Felix held his hand up to his coach, gaze ever focused on the enemy, as the now giant of a man moved to attack. With a slow bend that made his bones creak and skin tear even further, Trabaggio crouched down and launched himself and struck at Felix. The demon simply stood there. With a terrifying roar, Trabaggio nearly instantly moved to Felix and struck his fist through the boy, arm sinking into his chest up to the shoulder, a sickening crack and splatter sound as Ricardo shattered his own leg. Huh? There, to everyone's shock, Ricardo's fist was jutting out of the ground and into his leg, the very same Vellatore's had broken 2 months ago. Ricky looked up at Felix, glow of his eyes fading as the boy looked down on him, a malevolent smirk across his face as Trabaggio's body collapsed to the ground, his arms sliding back into the shadows on the ground and out of the demon's chest, leaving a gaping hole of darkness to spill the field with him. What the hell? Ricky shuddered, clutching the ground as he trembled in pain, his body slowly shrinking down as his tears bled profusely. "I don't know what your coach is like, but mine likes to let people kick their own asses. Thought I'd take a page from him and use an idea I got from another guy that thought I had a punchable face. I'll kill you! Swear on everything, I'll kill you!" Felix said nothing as the count began, Trabaggio mumbling incoherently as the boy walked past him, with the older fighter's muscles tensing as he did. "I'm supposed to be the best, better than these fucking jobber brats, better than you! I won't lose! I won't!" Rick chanted to himself like a mantra, gritting his teeth as he rose up, weight on his shattered leg. As he turned from a crouched position, arm expanding as he reared for a powerful punch. "I won't lose!" By the time he was facing him, the demon had already started his attack, without a word, without a sound. Felix threw his fist into Ricky, eyes becoming a royal blue as black flames engulfed the older fighter, sending him skidding across the field as he wailed in agony. Trabaggio beaten, broken, and charred. Countdown came and went. The winner of the 13th match, Felix the Demon! The young man breathed a sigh of relief as the cheers of the crowd washed over him, eyes drifting back to his fallen enemy, in pain, but still breathing. He couldn't help but notice there's still embers near his heart. Felix stared at Ricky for what felt like hours, remembering all the pain he'd caused him, caused his friends, how callous he was, even in the end. Slowly the young man raised his hand towards the defeated fighter, and quickly found it yanked into the air. Huh? Whoa! Nice win, kid. You, really had me worried. The boy looked to his master, a knowing look on Goldbug's face, while a disheartened smile curled across his lips. Felix couldn't help but look away. As the pair basked in the bittersweet moment, the man on the ground aimlessly looked over the audience, terrible pain searing his body as he searched for something, anything at all to grasp for, settling upon a familiar little girl. The medical staff surrounded the hoary warrior as he struggled to turn, taking deep, gasping breaths as the medics asked him to stand still. Shaking with pain and fury, Trabaja rocked forward and back, and with a powerful leap shot towards the stands, blood jetting from his wounds and the bottom of his foot. Panic ensued as the psychotic archetype rocketed towards the stands, too fast and too far for any of the present ones to stop him in time. Felix watching in awe, knowing exactly where he was going. Kill the brat. I can get something out of this hellhole. Started with you, stupid girl. Stupid brats, I hate you! Jane Valatorres clutched her daughter tightly as the malicious man flew closer, his hand reaching for the young Vivian with the intent to kill her in his grasp. I hate you! Without warning, Ricky's body lurched to the side, a horrid pain spreading over his body, an agonizing, familiar pain. Face frozen in horror, Ricardo looked to his side and was greeted by the scornful gaze of Jonathan Valatorres, shoulder pushing into his side while his cane was jabbed into his liver. His eyes were very much like his son's. Oh. The two men fell from the first balcony area to the stands below, John's momentum shifting his weight against Ricky, turning the two in the air until Trabagia came to a violent halt, a horrific snap heard as he crashed on the concrete edge of the field entryway. Valatorres, in a stroke of luck, found himself flung horizontally onto the field, rolling over the grass for a moment before steadily getting to his feet, dirty and covered in green blades, but seeming to be okay otherwise. The medical and security staff rushed to check on both men, John insisting his wellness while trying to look over to his son. Felix collapsed to his knees, breathing heavy with adrenaline and relief as their eyes met. Jonathan, ignoring the medics, jaunted over to his son, a reassuring hand on the boy's shoulder, as he helped Goldbug escort him back to the benches, paying no more mind to the broken man being carried off behind them than one would the trash.